the thing was there was a lot of empty promises when I joined these especially younger companies. And so there were several reasons why I just eventually needed to make that switch just for good away from that industry.
Now let's dive into some of the transition that you had from tech to real estate professional, and why did you make the move? And then we'll dive into some of the best kept secrets that you have to grow your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I made the move mainly because I was at different smaller companies. I was never at a big company. So I never worked at like a Facebook, Google, these kind of big companies. I've always worked at startups. And the thing was, there was a lot of empty promises when I joined these especially younger companies. And so there were several reasons why I just eventually needed to make that switch just for good away from that industry. It was fun and all. I mean, make no mistake, I got to travel a lot. I got paid well. I made good money in that industry. However, there's just so many things out of my control, especially as a salesperson in the tech company. As you can imagine, you're only as good as your product per se. And so I was selling products because my job is to sell, but many times the products didn't work. So it made me look very bad, especially when these individuals and these managers are trusting me with a very important decision, ultimately career defining decisions as well, in terms of bolstering their careers or even a potential demotion. So I would have to gain the trust of these people, yet have very little control of the product itself, because I'm not an engineer, nor do I can control the development efforts. So that was very frustrating, right? I mean, the worst feeling I have is like I work so hard, gain the trust of them, and then the product doesn't do what it was supposed to do. And it wasn't even over pitching. It was just core things just didn't go well. So it was very frustrating. So I knew I needed to, kind of get out of that space. I wanted a career and an ability to control my own destiny. And real estate happened to be one, especially since I did some of the real estate transactions on the side while I was working initially.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really insightful. And so then transitioning to real estate and the entrepreneur side of you, and then the sales side of you, right? And then the data side of you. I think it's a really unique combination there, right? I guess maybe to have both of those things makes it even more with the rapid pace of technology and the way things are moving, right? So let's dive into maybe the best secrets that you have right now. What are you doing that you feel, especially as it pertains to scaling, what have you done to feel like you've really taken such a big leap? I think you said 9 or 10 million the first year to 40 million this year. What's been the best kept secret that you're doing that's really working?
I think the biggest thing is the aspect of being on top of things, right? So the discipline aspect. So what I've done very well is, I have my CRM, my database, and I continue to stay on top of it as much as I can. Now, to get to this stage at 40 million has been incredible. And my goal is next year to get to 80 million, which is about, let's say, 60 families help. So I definitely need assistance in that case to get to that level, not just from a people perspective, but from a time perspective, right? So, being disciplined and being on top of things has been very, very beneficial, and has been a giant key to the success, but also adding more and more people into the database, whether it's through events, whether it's through social media, whether it's through referrals, whether it's just a random person that I may meet on the street. It's continuing to add that every day, so it gets bigger and bigger. And so what am I doing now to then get to that next level is to automate the things that can be automated, right? The fun part of tech and the fun part of the business is you want to try to scale the unscalable, right? And so some of them is going to be very manual, but at least having the right reminders and to know when to reach out to somebody that you need to reach out to, right? Or there are other people that maybe are further down the road, so you may not want to spend the same amount of time as you would want to spend with somebody that is just mentally ready. So that kind of segmentation is very important, because at the end of the day, we both have the same amount of days or same amount of hours in a day, and we choose to do it however we want, right? You can work 18 hours a day if you wanted to, but still, it's still a finite time, and so you have to be really, really, really careful, and you have to plan it in a way where you're giving the right attention to the right people, right? Because the last thing at the same time is there are other people that may be ready that you may, because you misallocated that time, that you didn't help that person, and you may actually have lost the deal. So there's also the opportunity cost that is actually quite big when you do things the wrong way.
So making sure you spend the right time with the right people at the right time, right? And the
Exactly.
right amount of time, given their level of motivation or even where their mindset's at, or their ability to actually perform, right? Such as a down payment, or their actual, money's available for the down payment, or their credit score, or they're in that place where they're actually ready to perform. Fair summary?
Exactly.